you got to let me know what was your inspiration behind Earthlings? Because I'm
Earthlings.
obsessive with Afrofuturism and all that stuff, and like,
I am too. I feel my dad had funk, like P-Funk records when I was little, and Parliament records, and I'd look on the back and see these weird cartoons,
mhm.
of like the women in the booby tops and the booty shorts and
Yeah,
this and there was all this stuff about space, and I remember just thinking like, what is this? And definitely when I was a teenager, I sort of thought of it as kind of a bit silly or escapist, and it was only when I got into my well, probably 10, 15 years ago
mhm.
that the penny dropped, and the expansive thing of, if you want to if someone wants to pigeonhole as being from here, you have to be within the system of what it means to be black in America. And like Sun Ra, the only way to explain it is to say, actually, I'm not from here. Oh, you think I'm from here? Oh, you think I'm like that? No, I'm not even from this planet.
Mhm.
And I loved that when I went back to that music, the idea that there's another space, an alternative space that lives outside of capitalism and white supremacy, and that this band is from there and they're going to take you there, and all you have to do is get on board the mothership. And so the philosophy of it, which I had missed in because I was too busy just sort of enjoying the groove of the music,
Mhm.
that was right there. And so, I mean, there's a really good Afrofuturistic film showing in the bank when I was there, and I was thinking, tying all these things together. But the main thing was the inspiration behind that was these different searches for utopia that I read about in the bank. There was a conversation bouncing backwards and forwards between the black thinkers from, I guess, the 1810s onwards, the classic two positions. You could call it a Martin Luther King versus early Malcolm X,
Mhm.
integrationist versus separatist position. We find ourselves to be here outside of Africa in this country, in these places which are intolerant of us. What do we do? Do we find allies and make a new community? Do we become part of everyone? Are we all each other's brothers and sisters, like a Martin Luther King position? Or is there do we recognize the aggression and turn inwards and turn away from the place where we find ourselves to be? And whether it's a Marcus Garvey going back to Africa, or whether it's a more of a spiritual separatist community where you're still in America but you have your own commune and you have your own rules and laws, and or whether it's a community of that's exclusive in terms of who you socialize with. So I would see these ideas going back and forth in the bank all the way through history, people trying to work it out. How do we live now outside of Africa in this place which is not entirely welcoming? And so I've
Mhm.
thought a lot about these utopias that have been attempted, the all black towns of the West, and those of them that were successful, and those that weren't successful or were, like a Greenwood that was
Mhm.
eventually firebombed, the first incidents of firebombing on American soil. So I thought about those, like, what is it to yearn for utopia? Try for perfection. It always will fail. And yet that's the direction. That's what all communities are looking for: peace, love, freedom. I was blown away by Mrs. Johnson using the Ebony Fashion Fair, and the Black Panthers would say to her, why are you bringing up clothes? This is a bourgeois thing. You're
Right.
bringing clothes from France to put on the back of black models to parade around the town halls and the city halls for local black maids to see. Like, what are you doing? And she, apart from the fact they were raising millions of dollars for the historical black universities and colleges, Mrs. Johnson was saying it's important for people to see themselves
Mhm.
reflected on this catwalk. It's important for women to see this elegance, see this dream, see this art, see this creativity. It's like, what do we want on the other side of the struggle?
Mhm.
Struggle's meant to end at some point, and then
Yeah,
you're meant to be,
destination point.
eating pineapple in the sun, digging your garden to
Mhm.
live, and finding work, but also time to enjoy yourself. That's the world we're trying to build. We're not constantly so much in a struggle that we're imagining it will never end. And so I guess the song Earthlings is about a non-human person sort of looking in on us and seeing how easy it would be to reset our world, which of course is a super naive position, but that was the position that I took from looking at these attempts at utopia, sort of the effort, the attempt, the hope, the audacity of it is the only place to start.